Chapter 61, Is That the New Dad? Outpatient Department. The head nurse, wanting to please Lu Jing, personally came over to inquire if there was anything she needed help with. She thought she came early, but to her surprise, Lu Jing's clinic was already open. The appointment system hadn't started yet, or else the patients waiting outside would have already entered. She hurriedly quickened her pace to approach. "Director, let me pour you some tea." "Fang Hao, why is it you? Why are you sitting in the director's position? What are you doing? Get back to the lobby." The head nurse was dumbfounded, not expecting it to be the annoying Fang Hao. "Thank you." Fang Hao took the teacup from the head nurse's hand and even took a sip. That's the director's cup. Are you trying to die?" The head nurse was angry. Fang Hao actually drank the tea she brewed, and he used the director's cup. Was he qualified? Fang Hao, calm and composed, said, "The director asked me to stand in for her in the clinic. If you don't believe it, you can ask her." "Oh, the dean also approved it." "If you don't believe me, ask the dean. Can you treat patients?" "Of course. I'm a doctor, not like you." While the head nurse was talking, a patient walked in, a middle-aged woman. The woman seemed surprised and asked, "Is Director Lu not here?" Fang Hao said, "Director Lu has an urgent meeting and won't be able to come for a while. I'm here to cover for her. If you believe me, let me take a look. If you don't believe me and insist on waiting for Director Lu, you definitely won't see her today. This is the head nurse, she can help you transfer to another doctor." The head nurse immediately glared at Fang Hao. He was ordering her around now. However, in front of the patient, she didn't dare to act recklessly. The middle-aged woman hesitated. Fang Hao said, "Miss, I think you have lower back and leg pain, possibly sciatic nerve pain. Let me check first, and then you can see another doctor for a comparison if you'd like." "Well, alright." The middle-aged woman didn't expect Fang Hao to diagnose her condition. She had been waiting all noon, thinking she could transfer to another doctor if Director Lu wasn't available. However, if this doctor could see her problem, and with the head nurse present, there might be some credibility. She sat down, allowing Fang Hao to examine her. "Damn." The head nurse looked down on Fang Hao but didn't leave. After finishing the examination, Fang Hao signaled the head nurse to take the patient to a nearby bed. The head nurse was dissatisfied but had to comply. There was a hospital rule that required a nurse to be present when a male doctor examined a female patient, especially during a physical examination. This rule aimed to prevent sexual harassment issues and potential disputes between doctors and patients. It was the beginning of a new business assessment period, and if Fang Hao complained about the head nurse, she would be in trouble. Most importantly, why would Director Lu let Fang Hao take her place? It was intriguing. The head nurse noticed that after Fang Hao examined the patient's body and pressed a few times, the patient said her pain was relieved. This made her more convinced that Fang Hao was manipulating the situation. However, she also noticed that Fang Hao could accurately state the condition of each patient and provide a diagnosis for each one. When the patients left, they all thanked Fang Hao and her. Throughout the process, up to the last patient, there was no deviation. "Head nurse, thank you." Fang Hao was pleased. He had made the head nurse work hard the whole afternoon, ordering her around, a bit of payback for her actions in the outpatient hall. He was very happy and went back to the cafeteria for dinner. The head nurse, with a stern face, went to Lu Jian's office and drank half a cup of water. Lu Jian asked, "What's wrong with you?" The head nurse explained the afternoon incident of accompanying Fang Hao in the clinic. She said, "Now we're in trouble. I don't understand why Director Lu is so familiar with Fang Hao and let him cover the shift. And Fang Hao actually did it. If we target Fang Hao, won't he hold a grudge against us?" Lu Jian was also speechless. He wasn't afraid of Fang Hao, but he was afraid of Lu Jing. He was just a deputy with little power. He only managed a few nurses. Lu Jing was the director, and the outpatient department relied on her alone. He wanted to curse his luck. This troublesome woman, Luo Yunlan, brought disaster upon him. After dinner, Fang Hao went to the Department of Surgery. When he saw Director Gong, he hurried over. Director Gong said, "I didn't see you this afternoon. I thought you wouldn't come." Fang Hao said, "Director Lu couldn't leave, so I helped her in the clinic. I just finished busy and came here." "Did you make any mistakes?" "No, the cases this afternoon were all routine, no complex or difficult ones. Vice Director Yi in the next room encountered a tricky case, and the patient has been admitted. They might need to organize a specialist consultation. That's good. Take a look at this surgery. It starts in 15 minutes. Director Gong casually asked. He wasn't concerned about outpatient matters. He only cared about surgical operations. After one more surgery today, he could go home. Fang Hao quickly glanced at the cases at hand and found another liver surgery. He felt a bit annoyed. He had encountered quite a few liver cases recently. Since there was another surgery at the same time, Fang Hao ended up in the position of the first assistant this time. Unexpectedly, during the suturing process, Director Gong actually gave him the position and let him do it. Fang Hao calmed down, took over, and then began the operation he had imagined countless times, swiftly and flawlessly. Finally, after cutting the suture, he checked the patient's data. Everything was normal. He looked at Director Gong. Director Gong nodded, checked it and confirmed, and declared the surgery over. While washing his hands, Director Gong asked, Fang Hao, have you performed surgeries before? Are you skilled at suturing? Fang Hao said, I haven't performed surgeries, but I've practiced suturing. For a while, my wife complained about why I kept buying bananas. Haha, I went through that too back in the day. Director Gong laughed. Fang Hao didn't leave the department of surgery. He saw that the lights were still on in other operating rooms, so he went to observe. At the entrance of the kindergarten, Suro came to pick up the children. With the two little ones, she walked back to their residence. At the entrance of the garage, she saw Zhengquan. They exchanged a few words and then separated. Suro took the children upstairs. In the elevator, there were only the three of them. Tian asked, Mom, is that the new dad? Suro squinted and smiled, saying, That's Uncle Zhang. You should recognize him, right? Tian said, I recognize him. Dad asked me and said that Mom found a new dad, and then Dad and Mom will get divorced. He asked me if I want to stay with Mom or Dad. Suro smiled and asked, What did you say? Tian said, I said I want to stay with Mom. Dad doesn't come home to make delicious food for me, so I won't stay with him. Jia said, I like Dad. I want to stay with Dad. Mom, Dad also asked me. He asked me the name of the uncle who used to come to our house. Suro frowned, feeling that something was about to happen. However, someone else came in, greeted her, and she had to socialize first, putting aside the children's words for now. Chapter 62, Wife's Judgment. At home, Suro tried calling Fang Hao multiple times, but he didn't answer. Growing increasingly displeased, she watched her son demand boneless fish for dinner, a dish she had no idea how to prepare. She decided to take them out to eat instead. Her mother, Zhou Fen, suggested, since we're going out, let's visit the hospital afterward and bring Fang Hao some clean clothes. Suro wasn't too eager to see Fang Hao, who blatantly ignored her instructions and didn't even reply to her messages. She felt like she was losing control. Following her rules, only she could command Fang Hao. In the room, Suro wasn't sure what clothes Fang Hao would prefer or where he kept them. While rummaging through the closet, an item fell in front of her, an unnoticed small camera. Initially dismissing it, a sudden realization struck her. Could Fang Hao have installed this? What did he know? After a moment of petrification, Suro immediately closed the door and went to the bathroom. Considering there might be cameras there as well, she quickly left. Regaining her composure, she asked her mother to take the children downstairs and wait for her, then rushed to the study. The study was her husband's private space. She rarely entered, so it was unlikely to have cameras. She saw professional books and printed materials she couldn't understand. Surprised by the number of books he had read, she turned on the computer, searched for videos or monitoring software but found nothing. Feeling a headache coming on, she realized the video terminal was likely on Fang Hao's phone. Searching online for a quick way to find surveillance devices in the room, she installed an app on her phone, scanning the house meticulously. She discovered 4 surveillance devices. Panicking, Suro changed to another SIM card, called the support team, and asked for a solution. She wanted a way out, almost asking if the person on the other end would marry her. However, they replied with a cold, "You handle it yourself." How do I handle it? Suro found that they had hung up, and when she called back, the phone was turned off. Damn it, why do I have to deal with this? Can't you take some responsibility? Suro crouched on the floor, fingers tangled in her hair, pulling at her scalp. Fang Hao, you're monitoring me? You jerk. Fang Hao, when did you start suspecting me? The more Su-ro thought about it, the more terrified she became. Fang Hao wasn't as simple as she thought. She didn't know when he began suspecting her and what he found out. Stay calm, Su-ro, stay calm. During dinner, Zhofan noticed Su-ro's distraction and asked, "What's wrong? Are you feeling unwell?" "No, I'm fine." Su-ro forced a smile, concealing her inner turmoil behind her beautiful face. "Mom, are you missing Dad?" "I miss Dad too. It's been 2 days since I saw him," Jia said, on the verge of tears. "I don't miss that stinky Dad, he doesn't cook delicious food for me." Tian grumbled. "Okay, I'll bring Dad back home later." Su-ro squinted and smiled. Zhofan remarked, "It's about time you brought him back. In these 2 days without him, you haven't managed the children's meals properly. As a mother, you're a bit of a failure. Mom, in front of the children, please spare me some dignity." Su-ro continued to smile. After dinner, Su-ro took the children directly to the Provincial People's Hospital. Unable to reach Fang Hao's phone, she quickly inquired about Fang Hao's mentor's office. Upon their arrival, Fang Hao was not in sight, but after another attempt to call, they discovered Fang Hao's phone ringing in a drawer. Su-ro wanted to open Fang Hao's phone but realized she didn't know the password, causing her frustration and helplessness. Of course, Fang Hao also didn't know her password. While Su-ro didn't go to the inpatient department, she waited near the corridor. Soon, she spotted Fang Hao in a white coat and called out. Fang Hao was surprised and hurried over, asking, "Mom, why are you here? Why do you smell so bad?" "Oh, just came out of the operating room. It's the smell of disinfectant." "Mom, are you sick? Do you need to be hospitalized? Why didn't you tell me in advance? Can I reach you by phone? What have you been busy with every day? Your wife and children are here. Hurry up, tidy up, and go home. This hospital looks scary, and only you can stay here." Saying this, Zhofan turned and walked down. Fang Hao was taken aback. He didn't expect his family to find the hospital. He was a bit touched, after all, it was the first time. But he was also puzzled. He quickly arrived at the inpatient department and indeed found the children in the office. "Xiaoro. Dad. Dad." The 2 little ones rushed over, hanging on Fang Hao. When Su-ro saw her husband, she suddenly became extremely nervous, as if waiting for a criminal trial. However, seeing her husband's reaction to the children, similar to his previous expressions, full of doting, she felt that her husband was still the same. "Go home, why are you standing there?" After a moment of intimacy with the children, changing clothes, Fang Hao called to his wife, who was still staring at him. Let's go home." A flash of insight came to Su-ro. She subconsciously thought that her husband might only have suspicions and no substantial evidence, otherwise, he would have caused a scene. Thinking of this, the tension in her heart eased a lot. In the car, Zhofan complained, "Fang Hao, are you really so busy at the hospital? Our Director Lu's husband has a serious illness. Master and Director Lu were classmates, and they are working on a treatment plan. Even the hospital director is involved. It's a big deal. I got my prescription rights, thanks to Director Lu's help. I want to contribute my part." Fang Hao briefly explained, he couldn't afford to be without a reason for working so hard. If he revealed that it was an escape, it would be a showdown. A showdown might lead to divorce, but it wouldn't allow him to retaliate against the adulterer. And to gain custody of the children, his economic situation was far inferior to his wife's. He couldn't even handle his job properly. If they broke up, he would be at a disadvantage. In short, he had to endure. Zhofan said, "You're just a young doctor. What can you do? What meaningful effort can you make?" Mom is right. Fang Hao didn't want to argue. In these 4 years, he hadn't achieved anything remarkable. In his mother-in-law's eyes, he had no chance to lift his head. His mother-in-law was that kind of person, you had to have achievements for her to consider you worthy. She was a professor and held herself with arrogance. His wife said, "Mom, he's been working all day. Can you say a little less? You always say that he's not good enough. You're a professor, but have you made any breakthroughs or progress in mathematics? Have you won any national science and technology awards? At least, my husband can take care of a patient." Superficial. While Fang Hao could endure his mother-in-law's criticism, his wife was not someone his mother-in-law could criticize easily. Fang Hao felt relieved, but he was also puzzled. Why did his wife start calling him husband again? What kind of affection was she showing off? Chapter 63, What does he really know? the family returned home. The mother-in-law freshened up and quickly went to rest in the room. The two little ones also fell asleep soon. While Fang Hao was preparing clothes for the children, he noticed the wardrobe had been searched, and the cameras he had installed were missing. He was surprised that his wife had discovered them, yet she showed no signs of abnormality. Is she plotting against me? Can't find the client, she probably doesn't know what I found out? Alright, I won't say anything. Let's see how long she can keep up the act, see when she decides to confront me. Fang Hao pretended nothing had happened and went to freshen up. His wife went to freshen up first. When she came out, she was wearing a very transparent nightgown, revealing the vacuum inside. She glanced provocatively at Fang Hao. Seeing Fang Hao's slightly stunned expression, she felt a bit flustered. However, inwardly, she was a bit proud. She indeed still had allure. She whispered, "Hurry up and wash. I'll be waiting for you." These past 2 days at the hospital had been very stressful for Fang Hao. Director Liu treated him well, securing him prescription rights, but Zhang Jun had a severe illness. In theory, he could live for 1 or 2 more months, but any accident could worsen his condition, leading to imminent death. Fang Hao's mentor worked day and night for the treatment plan, and unexpectedly, his mentor's wife had an affair. Fang Hao couldn't get significant opportunities at the hospital. He was consulted only when someone needed his knowledge, without giving him a chance. His punishment was unjust, he was mysteriously transferred and marginalized even further. The old hospital director was too harsh on him. At home, his wife had an affair, and his daughter wasn't his biological child. The pressure was immense. Seeing his wife like this, he suddenly had a feeling, she was someone else's woman. He didn't hold back and directly pounced on her. In these 4 years, he hadn't seen his wife in such a state. It seemed as if she needed a storm to ravage her. Yet, for 4 years, he treated her like a delicate doll, afraid of breaking her. Whenever he exerted force, as long as she uttered a sound of pain or asked him to stop, he had to halt. In reality, he hadn't treated her like a treasure, like a beloved wife. At such times, he saw another side of her. He felt conflicted. Judging from his wife's intense reaction, it seemed rare. But in 4 years, couldn't things go awry? After a long time, after freshening up, his wife curled up like a little cat in Fang Hao's arms, drawing small circles on his broad chest with her hands. "Husband, you're different from before. Did I not do well in that area?" She really wanted to ask Fang Hao what he knew, but she didn't dare. She speculated that her husband might not know yet because he hadn't revealed it. Thinking carefully, her husband wasn't the kind to endure silently. Pursuing a part-time PhD, coming from a rural background, he had pride. He wouldn't tolerate being cuckolded, her husband might take extreme actions. Thinking of that day, she felt fear for the first time, a terrifying kind of fear. The day the affair was exposed, her husband would leave her. Would he kill her? Kill the man involved? The family would be shattered, a joke, and her parents would be ashamed. These consequences, she thought of them for the first time in these 4 years. It was the first time she considered such things. For 4 years, even earlier, being with that man secretly felt exhilarating and joyful. The red flag at home, the colorful flag outside, a senior financial director in a big corporation with an annual salary of several $100,000, driving a luxury car worth tens of thousands, an excellent family background, and a handsome young husband with a pair of twins. She thought she was the winner in life, a super winner. But now, she realized she had planted a time bomb herself. Once her husband detonated it, she would be utterly destroyed. Fang Hao is also waiting for his wife to take the initiative and reveal everything. He's busy trying to turn the situation around at the hospital and has no energy or time to investigate his wife's lover. He asks, "Is there anything you haven't done well?" I've been busy with work and neglected you and the children. From now on, I'll prioritize you and the children. I want to spoil you both and make you the happiest people. Upon hearing this, Fang Hao doesn't feel happy at all. If it were before, he would have been touched, but now he feels that his wife wants to make him the most cuckolded person. "Woman, it's too late. I know how rotten you are." Fang Hao sighs and says, "It's late, let's go to sleep." His wife shivers slightly at the husband's indifferent response, feeling a bit disappointed. It seems her husband knows something. She wants to ask but doesn't dare. In the early morning, Fang Hao wakes up feeling swollen and with the urge to pee. His wife isn't beside him, and the next moment leaves him shocked and angry. This is the first time. Fang Hao is speechless. After the intense emotions, there's an inexplicable feeling of disgust and anger, ultimately followed by resignation. This woman serves that scoundrel the same way. Regardless, it's another urgent and fiery battle this morning. Fang Hao washes up and goes to the kitchen to prepare breakfast for the children. Soon, he sees his wife coming to help, which surprises him. However, he is well aware of his wife's intentions. She knows that I know something and wants to do something to make amends. Unfortunately, she has no idea what I know, and this has already crossed my bottom line. Fang Hao doesn't say much. His wife sees Fang Hao carving a very exquisite shape on the bread with a small knife. She inexplicably shivers, thinking that her husband is a doctor, skilled with a knife, and if he were to kill someone. She feels a chill down her spine. She asks, "Where did you learn this knife skill?" Fang Hao says, "This is the technique used in surgical procedures. This is a failed product." Failed? I think it looks beautiful. Oh, when I say failed, I mean there's room for improvement. Anyway, you wouldn't understand, it's a very professional matter. Husband, Jia Jia and Tian Tian will rely on you in the future. These failed products are their favorites. Oh, they also like your boneless chicken. How do you make it? Is it done the same way? Yes. Remove the bones, peel off the skin, take out the meat, chop it into minced meat, and then stuff it back. This? The wife feels that her husband is a bit frightening, not incompetent but frighteningly strong. Chapter 64, Divorce? Husband will lose everything. Due to Fang Hao's concealment, tolerance, and efforts, this family has once again returned to calmness and laughter. Fang Hao receives a call to substitute for a class at Jiangdong University for director Lu Jing. He informs his mentor, reporting and discussing the day's work before heading to the university. Arriving at Jiangdong University, Fang Hao parks the car, and his mother-in-law, getting out of the car, asks, "Aren't you going to the hospital?" Fang Hao responds, "Oh, I need to substitute for Director Lu's class first, and then I'll go to the hospital after the lecture." "What class?" "Diagnostic medicine." "You can teach?" "Barely." "Oh, I forgot you're pursuing a PhD. You're teaching undergraduates, is that okay? Have you obtained the lecturer qualification?" His mother-in-law sees through a bit. This son-in-law has accumulated and finally made some progress after 4 years of silence. To substitute at a university, you need a lecturer qualification, especially since Fang Hao isn't a graduate student at this university. "I'm a temporary lecturer, unpaid. The lecture content is determined by Director Lu, so it's not a big problem." Fang Hao smiles awkwardly. "Oh, this is a good start. Mom, take care of yourself. If anything is wrong, take medicine promptly, don't tough it out. Stop nagging." His mother-in-law grumbles, but she feels warm inside. Last night, her son-in-law and daughter came home laughing and talking. This morning, they made breakfast together, and the children's joyful voices filled the air. Everything is very pleasant. She used to think that family wasn't that important, career mattered. However, as she ages, she realizes that having more children makes a family meaningful. With age comes a greater sense of belonging to the family. On the other side, the wife arrives at the company, feeling uneasy. Last night's events and her husband's hidden strength this morning make her wary. She needs to understand her husband better, especially how he investigated her recently. After some thought, she makes a call. "Xiao Guan, check the travel records of a vehicle, preferably for the last month." "My dad's car, nothing special, just want to see the travel records." "Yeah, check the last month, so fast, great, send me the data." After a moment, she receives an email with a map software attached. She opens it and sees a red dot moving on the map. This red dot is her dad's car, the one Fang Hao has been driving. Everything seems fine for the past 20 days, but the wife decides to focus on the days when her husband acted unusually. Soon, she discovers that 3 days ago, her husband went to an out-of-town resort area in the evening. Zooming into the exact location of the resort, the wife is stunned, staring blankly at the computer. Her husband actually found out about this place. How did he know? What exactly does her husband know? Could he know everything? No, her husband couldn't know everything, or else he would have acted impulsively by now, right? Divorce? If they divorce, will her husband leave her with nothing? No, the house was bought before the marriage, with her money. The car belongs to her dad, and she can get custody of the children since her husband's job isn't stable. Her husband's job was arranged by her parents. If they divorce, her parents could arrange for him to be fired from the hospital. Divorce? Her husband will have nothing. Thinking this through, the wife takes a deep breath. For now, her husband has no evidence, so she stands on invincible ground. It seems she needs to cut ties with him first, otherwise, he'll keep a close eye on her and eventually ruin everything. The wife thinks for a moment, takes out a SIM card from under the desk, inserts it, and then dials a number. Hello, I settled things with my husband last night, it should be fine now. But let's not meet for a while. After finishing the class, Fang Hao rushes to the hospital and sees his mentor waiting at the entrance of the inpatient department. This is the first time Fang Hao has seen his mentor since the drunken incident at noon yesterday. Subconsciously, he glances at the top of his mentor's head, as if searching for a green hat. The seemingly unattainable achievements of his mentor now appear imperfect to Fang Hao. Even his respect for his mentor has diminished. Your wife is cheating on you, and you don't even know. You're trash. My wife has been cheating on me for 4 years, and I didn't realize. Between me and my mentor, it's just a matter of degrees. What right do I have to mock my mentor? His mentor's old classmate is seriously ill, and Fang Hao's career is not going well. Could it all be because of the metaphorical green hat? Fang Hao realizes that such thoughts would only make him appear more incapable. His lack of success cannot be blamed on others, especially not on family. He can also see the anxiety on his mentor's face. Master, what's wrong? Fang Hao, Lao Zhang's condition has worsened. How confident are you with your treatment plan? I can guarantee the success of the surgery. The cure rate is still around 1 in 10,000, but even if a complete cure isn't achieved, 3 to 5 years shouldn't be a problem. Master, do I have to take charge? Did the hospital approve it? Fang Hao suddenly realizes something and becomes excited and nervous at the same time. Go for a consultation first. This time, Lao Zhang's family is here, and the decision lies with them. His mentor also doesn't dare to promise too much. They, along with others, head to the consultation room. Lu Jing isn't wearing a white coat but casual clothes, looking quite tired with swollen eyes. For elderly people, probably relatives from both sides, and a young girl around 15 or 16 are also present. On the hospital side, the old dean, Director Kai, and others are present. On the screen, there's a report on Lao Zhang's liver and lung imaging. Fang Hao observes and realizes that the situation is indeed severe. This is due to non-compliance with treatment. Fang Hao sighs inwardly. Many critically ill patients often don't want treatment and wish to end their lives early to spare their families from more suffering. In fact, there's a paradox here. Many patients who comply with treatment are often afraid of death, leading to more worries and a faster demise. On the other hand, those who don't comply often survive against the odds. What truly leads to a patient's recovery is the doctor using the right treatment plan, curing the illness. Fang Hao doesn't have a chance to speak, but he understands that the patient's family urgently wants surgery to avoid seeing the patient suffer. The hospital, on the other hand, is reluctant because this surgery may not yield the desired results, and the failure rate is too high. If the surgery fails, the patient might die directly. The conservative treatment option could extend the patient's life for a period. After weighing the options, the hospital is hesitant to proceed with the surgery. The old dean and Director Kai are somewhat opposed to the surgery because they feel helpless. Dr. Fang Hao, you perform this surgery. Lu Jing looks at Fang Hao with a pleading expression, taking a gamble. Her family immediately looks at Fang Hao, thinking he's too young for such a responsibility. Then, they turn their gaze to the old dean. Okay, let Fang Hao do it. Prepare for the surgery. It will start at noon. The old dean makes a decision, also taking a gamble. Chapter 65, a heavy responsibility and a long way ahead. There are still 2 hours left. Fang Hao and his mentor return to the inpatient department, preparing in the office for the upcoming surgery. His mentor remains silent, but his nerves are palpable. Fang Hao grabs a quick meal and then waits in the operating room, mentally reviewing the surgical procedure. When everything is ready, he enters the scrub room, and the nurses assist him in donning surgical attire. Entering the operating room, he sees the old dean as the first assistant, Director Kai as the second assistant, and another doctor whose name he doesn't know. Fang Hao nods at everyone, signaling the beginning of the surgery. The old dean notices Fang Hao's lack of panic, and as the incision is made, she finds it to be smaller than expected. The blood loss is well controlled, and hemostasis is timely. She wonders how this young doctor possesses such impressive skills. How did he acquire this level of proficiency? Director Kai's gaze also intensifies. He feels the pressure because Fang Hao's surgical technique isn't inferior to his own. He thinks, given the opportunity, this young man could become the best surgeon in the provincial hospital. The other doctor, equally astonished, reflects on Fang Hao's youth, around 25 or 26. He thinks that if Director Kai yields the lead surgeon position to this young man, it's not evading responsibility. The young man genuinely has the skills. Fang Hao is focused, and his hands move swiftly and precisely. After 2 hours, with the old dean completing the stitches, the patient's vital signs stabilize, and the surgery is declared a success. Fang Hao doesn't leave, he stays to continue with the acupuncture treatment. As the old dean and others exit, they inform Lu Jing, the surgery was successful, smoother than we anticipated. Fang Hao. Lu Jing suddenly fills her mind with thoughts of Fang Hao, finding him incredibly endearing. She shakes the old dean's hand, saying, thank you, thank you. It's everyone's effort. Don't just thank me. Go to the ward area and wait. The old dean smiles. His mentor listens on the side, tightly clenching his fist. The stone in his heart finally falls with a heavy thud. Yet, seeing Lu Jing and the patient's family getting along, he feels a sense of loss and quietly withdraws. As his mentor turns the corner, Lu Jing subconsciously looks back at his retreating figure, feeling a sense of relief. Missed opportunities remain as memories in the wind. Thank you, Lao Su. Lao Zhang, how do you feel? Lu Jing sees her husband awake and can't help calling out, even though she knows he can't speak with the oxygen mask on. Zhang Jun has awakened and blinks towards Lu Jing and the other family members. Lu Jing turns to Fang Hao and asks, Dr. Fang, how is it? Fang Hao replies, I think the surgical part was successful. We took x-rays just now, and the results will be with the dean. Let's go check in a while. Okay, let's go together. Lu Jing knows that the main treating doctor is the old dean, even though Fang Hao proposed the treatment plan. The final decision rests with the old dean. Fang Hao takes a look, confirms no issues, and then goes with Lu Jing to the dean's office. The dean has indeed received the postoperative x-rays. Her expression has relaxed considerably. Lu Jing looks at them and believes the surgery was successful. The remaining challenge is to see if there's any spreading. In reality, given the advanced stage of liver cancer, spreading is almost inevitable. Next is the treatment for the spreading. The dean looks at Fang Hao and says, your mentor mentioned you're pursuing a PhD at Peking Union Medical College. Is it confirmed? Fang Hao replies, my application materials and review have been approved. I've already started self-study courses. There'll be an exam next month. I want to get the degree early. Will the hospital raise my salary after I obtain the PhD? Once you have a PhD, a salary increase is natural. You don't need to worry about that. Your mentor is looking for you, you can go now. The dean waves her hand, signaling Fang Hao to leave. Fang Hao understands that he may not be able to participate in the subsequent treatment. The surgery was his part, but it was just a single surgery. To attempt to break down the rigid class barriers with just one surgery would be too naive. Fang Hao enters the office and notices his mentor lost in thought. It seems strange, but he understands. If his mentor has feelings for Lu Jing, even if Lu Jing loses Zhang Jun, his mentor's chance is lost. With Zhang Jun's successful surgery, Lu Jing won't leave him, eliminating any opportunity for his mentor. Judging by Lu Jing's feelings for Zhang Jun, Fang Hao realizes his mentor's pursuit is futile. Oh, Fang Hao, you did really well this time, exceptionally well. I didn't misjudge you, you are more suited to be a doctor than I am. His mentor looks at Fang Hao with sincere admiration for his talent, even a hint of jealousy. This young doctor, who is called his disciple out of habit, has no formal master-disciple relationship with him. Yet, he has been demanding and almost tyrannical, and this disciple has managed to meet all expectations. Now looking back, it's clear his disciple's abilities are exceptionally strong. In both Zhang Jun's treatment plan and the case of the pregnant woman, as well as in writing papers, his mentor observes that Fang Hao surpasses him. Mentor, without you, I couldn't have done any of this. You gathered many cases and conducted extensive research. Mentor, you work diligently in your position, and I should learn from you. Director Lu should thank you properly, at the very least, she should invite you for a meal. Fang Hao has a keen sense, even though he just performed a surgery, his status hasn't changed. He still needs his mentor's support. Ah, forget about that. This horse, named Su, does indeed serve a purpose, and his humble student finds it valuable. Fang Hao sits at the computer and says, Mentor, a journal wants to commission an article from me and is offering money. Can I accept? Money? His mentor frowns, immediately thinking of ghostwriting. Fang Hao whispers, I spoke with the dean. She refuses to lift Li Wei's disciplinary measures against me. I have no bonuses or benefits, just a basic salary of a little over 2,000. Oh, in that case, go ahead. But don't treat it as a formal job. I'll talk to the dean to lift your punishment and offer you an outpatient opportunity to improve your conditions. His mentor is more accommodating now. Thank you so much, mentor. Fang Hao breathes a sigh of relief. As long as his mentor gives approval, he can take on ghostwriting assignments, maybe even a few more to earn extra income. Even if his mentor disagrees, he would still take them privately. The hospital only provides a basic salary at a low level. He needs tuition for his PhD, has to buy professional books, and in the future, if he divorces, he'll need money to support his son. In this materialistic society, relying solely on spiritual satisfaction isn't practical. His wife, in her 40s, makes hundreds of thousands. At this moment, Fang Hao feels a sense of inferiority. He believes he can't be inferior to his wife. Being inferior would make him looked down upon.